Good morning, everybody. It's mountain climbing time. I haven't done a hike. I haven't climbed a mountain. I haven't done anything in nature except maybe a little bit of walking to and from a car since I've been off trail here. Oh man, I don't even know what it is now. 3.5 weeks maybe. Just been obviously not able to with the ankle and foot injury that took me off the Appalachian Trail. It is, though, much better right now. It's been healing and getting stronger. So I decided to put it to the test today. Doing what I love to do, summiting the mountains. At Silver Star Mountain in Washington right now. It's one of the more prominent, a little different than a lot of the other mountains in the Columbia River Gorge. It is, and you'll see why. On a clear day, you can see a lot of beauty, put it that way. You'll see why. Because guess what? It's a clear, beautiful, as of right now, cloudless day. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. It's a trail called the Grouse Trail that takes you to the summit of Silver Star. And it's extremely steep, at least for the first mile or so. Kind of levels out. And then another steep push to the summit. All in all, about not that bad at all. It's actually a smaller trail. I didn't want to push myself too hard today. It's about 2,000 of elevation and about 3 miles up, or about 3.5 miles up, 3.5 miles back, and just getting started. Beautiful. I mean, the dirt road coming up here was pretty much all pines, evergreens. Looks like Christmas. Beautiful forest of the PNW. But it's going to be a beautiful day, and you're going to see a lot of great views. Count on it. About 300 feet of elevation so far in the first third of a mile. I don't know if you could tell from the video. I know it doesn't normally give that elevation, elevation look on the trail of how steep it is, but it's pretty much straight up. I mean, nothing too bad. You get a little breathy if you try to go too fast, which I have a tendency to do when I first start for the day. Always been like that through hike or just regular day hike or section hike or just climb a summit for the day. Normally start off a little quick because I'm so excited and I have to bring myself back a little bit. But this is the trail right now, pretty wide. It gets to a very open spot up here soon, and not so wide there, but beautiful views. Rocks everywhere, but easily manage to get around them, so you don't accidentally step on one and roll. I'm sure I will at some point today, though, because my foot likes to find the rocks. But continuing on, because I'm getting out of breath again, talking while I'm walking. It's pretty steep. It's going to be about 750 or 1,000 feet here at about 0.6 miles, I think, is about what it sits at. So about another quarter of a mile. Going to be about 700 or 800 feet up, I think. Somewhere around there. So big piece of the elevation gone before the first mile's even done. So it's leveled out a little bit now. About 800 feet of elevation so far. Nice, cool, crisp day to start. I'm a little sweating right now, nothing too bad, just a little bit on the precipitation on the forehead. Precipitation, perspiration. I don't know which one I was trying to say, but they both work. But as you can see, trail's a little bit flattened out right now. And then I'm up on a ridge line, I believe, if I remember right. So I have been here one other time, and it was in winter with Lane right before I went to the Appalachian Trail. Well, a couple months before I went. It's actually right after the PCT. It was one of the first couple mountains I did after my break from the PCT of a few weeks. Basically the same thing as now, except then I wasn't injured like I am now, or like I have been this time. I was forced to not do anything this time. Last time I just didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to rest the body. Just, you know, general pains, and obviously my back was fractured, so I wanted to take as much of a break as possible. But this was the second or third mountain that I summited after that, and it was Lane's her first summit. She obviously has hiked quite a bit and throughout her life, but this was her first mountain summit. It was snowy at parts. This starts off about 2,500. It's about a 4,500 foot mountain. The trailhead's about 2,500, so you drive up through quite a bit of, you know, the views and the forest getting up here. Beautiful, beautiful ride up. The road's a little bumpy, but definitely been on worse. But anyway, this is my second time here. Last time was snow covered from about here on, and it's kind of sketchy on the ridge line up here that I'm going to be going on pretty soon. So looking forward to being able to really take in the views without as much stress and nerves as last time. But it was still beautiful. I mean, you can't beat beautiful winter shots of mountains and summits in the background, and especially in this area. Like I said, this is a very unique mountain in the gorge. Beautiful views everywhere in the gorge on all the mountains, but this one, you'll see why. Definitely some epic shots from the summit. So getting ready to get close to this ridge line here. It's about 45 degrees. Might be a little warmer now, but still pretty cool on a day that's going to be 85. It's a welcome start to the climb. Look at those beautiful trees over there. All symmetrical, and wow. And then you got the raw side of the mountain there where the trees are down. And you come over here and you get a little bit of both. And the trail where I'm just came from, it's starting to get a little more open here now. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. But it's going to wrap around here, around the ridge for a while, then start climbing up again. You get a little reprieve from the elevation, and you get the views, but not the big payoff yet. I can't wait for you to see it. Okay, let's be honest. I can't wait to see it myself. Absolutely gorgeous. Want to be careful on your steps here. It's a little tilted trail. Then obviously you have some of these jagged rocks coming up, and you have one part of the trail it's a little lower than the other, so definitely seen sketchier. So with these rocks and such on there, it does actually give some traction versus like sand and just slippery dirt, and it's somewhat flat right there, so nothing bad at all. Nothing bad. It doesn't take any real skill to do anything there. Just want to take your time, be extra careful, because as you could see, it was straight down. Now we got a little trees and brushes. We got some nice wildflowers going on here on this trail, but as you can see, it's a nice long distance down there. This particular section right here has some trees that other did not, so it would have been not a fun slip, put it that way. But walking through some trees now, getting back into the forest before the final ascent to the summit. Came to another opening from the forest. Beautiful views right here. This is not the summit. Still got about a quarter of a mile. But I wanted to show you this because on the other side of this mountain, that might be Larch Mountain, I'm not sure. But right over there is the gorge on the other side of that. Columbia Gorge, which is the river that separates Washington and Oregon. And Columbia River, I should say, is the river. But the gorge is basically mountains all around it on both sides. But that's how far I am away from it. I'd say that's a good, 15, 20 miles. So it's still considered the area of the gorge. But like I said, this mountain's quite a bit different up at the summit than the other ones, just with the views that come from up there. Really, everything is great views in the gorge. It's one of my favorite areas of the country, to be honest. But it's quite a bit different up here at the top of this mountain. I can't wait to see it because I've seen it in winter. And that was something special, obviously, because, you have the mountains that you're seeing up there are partially covered in snow and partially open. And that just always gives such a beautiful, beautiful look. And the depth of it, just gorgeous. But basically just came through this forest over here, wrapping around this side of Silver Star Mountain, getting ready to go up on the summit and see the other side. Absolutely gorgeous. Getting ready to summit right now. And I can already see 3 volcanic summits. And I'm not even quite to the top. I might be able to see all 5, which are within 100 miles. This is pretty epic. The views are spectacular. Woo! Getting ready to get to the top. This is a lot different than in the winter. It was a little treacherous right here, and this is really nothing right now. It's not, I mean, pretty wide trail, so I'm excited. Okay, this is nuts. To the left is Mount St. Helens. To the right is Mount Rainier. That is Mount Adams. These other mountains are just mountains that have names, but I don't know them. These are just the volcanic mountains I'm showing you. That's Mount Hood. And there, in the distance, is Mount Jefferson, which if you watch my PCT video last year from that section, Mount Hood to Mount Jefferson is about another 50 miles, and Mount Hood from here is probably about 50 or 60 miles. But then if you look past that, can't really see it too well, but in that area there, that's the Three Sisters. You can barely see them, but you can see the bumps. That is nuts. Mount Jefferson. Mount Hood. Absolutely insane. Mount Adams. Mount Rainier in the distance. Basically right next to St. Helens. St. Helens is real close. I climbed that one last year. It's the one with the least snow there. And then Mount Rainier is in the distance. That's a 14,000 footer. Still completely covered in snow. Mount Adams, I think, is about 10,000. Maybe 11. Hood is 11,000. And Jefferson, I think, is about 10,000. All volcanic mountains. Absolutely beautiful. This is why I do it. The volcanic side again, but I realized I only showed you this side. I didn't give you the full 360. Mount Adams again. Mount Rainier in a distance. Mount St. Helens. And then over here is the side that basically I was walking up on the other side of the mountain. Going down to the gorge. Absolutely beautiful in its own right. It's all absolutely gorgeous. Standing on top of the mountain. Woo! Standing on the summit of Silver Star Mountain. Some of the best views I've ever seen collected on one mountaintop. I could live up here. Although I'm sure the weather is not going to be this good on most days. And I would really, really miss my baby. And she's more important. But nonetheless, Silver Star Mountain is in the bag. Well, it's time to start descending. I am spoiled right now. I've had this whole mountain to myself from the beginning today. At the summit, all the way up. I've seen one person in the parking of the trailhead. And I never seen him again. Never seen anybody again. This is my kind of summit. First person up. And I got the worm. It was beautiful, I'm telling you. It's going to be beautiful on the way down, too. All those things that were behind me, I get to see now as I'm heading down. Mainly the views over on this side. Because once I come over there, that's just like an alternative summit, I guess. This one's the actual summit, I don't know, much higher, but probably 50 foot or so higher. This is about 43 something, I think, in elevation for this particular mountain, by the way, in case I didn't say that earlier. But yeah, getting ready to descend, and should be pretty cruisy downhill, hopefully. And so far the foot and ankle is holding up good, so that's a good thing. But the test will really come once I get down, do the descend. But man, I just don't want to leave. This is beautiful. It's just so beautiful with the fog in between, the layers of mountains and hills and volcanic mountains in the background, just in all their glory. It's hard to leave here right now. But other adventures await. So I'll show you some good views on the way down. Otherwise, you've seen the good stuff up top here. And it's been fun. Hope you've enjoyed this as much as me. The views just don't stop. What a beautiful hike and summit this was. Walking through the forest right now, still descending, obviously, because I'm coming down a mountain. That usually means you have to descend. But I'm not in the open area of the ridgeline anymore. It looks like I'm back in the forest. I think it opens up one more time before I'm in the forest for good. But just want to give a quick review of this. If you are anywhere near this area, and when I say anywhere near, I mean like within 100 miles or more, is worth it. It is not a hard climb at all. A couple thousand feet of elevation. It is steep in two different spots, the beginning and the end. The middle is a little more gradual or flat. So it will be a workout, but you can't climb a mountain without working out. So you got to be prepared for that. but there's nothing technical. The trail is wide for the most part, and when it's narrow, it's in the forest. When it's on the edge of the ridgeline in the open, exposed area, it's very wide, almost like a dirt road at times. So you can, if you're not real keen about walking on the very edge, you can walk over to the other edge that's further away from the drop off. So it's definitely worth it though. My review, awesome. Easily in my top 10 for summits. Not for climbs necessarily, but for the summit. It's an easy climb. Again, when I say easy, that's relative to, 5,000-6,000 foot climb that you normally would have to do to get really good views like that. Just a couple thousand feet, and it is steep, like I said a couple times. Probably about 25% grade, maybe 30% grade at times at the most. Usually about 20% though. Again, Silver Star Mountain, check it out. It is definitely a fun climb, but I mean, I've done the Sierras and Mount St. Helens, all over the AT, all over the PCT, mountains my whole life, and I have some doozies up there that are just awesome. St. Helens was awesome. Mount Whitney was awesome. Man, several in Virginia, North Carolina, and the Smokies was awesome. But this was special. There's not anything I can think of, especially only 4,500 feet, where you can see 5 volcanic mountains up to 100 miles away. That clearly. Obviously, it was a very clear day, and you couldn't see that most times. So I would definitely recommend, if you're going to come here sometime, that you do it on a clear day. Although clouds give it a whole other look, and that's worth it too. Like the time me and Lane was here in the winter, the winter's hiking gave it a completely different look. But there was definitely no stress today on the ridgeline like there was that day when everything was icy and snowy. And it was the descent that was the worst that day, because it was little later in the afternoon towards getting dark, and everything was starting to refreeze. So it was super slippery. Had to go super slow through it to be very careful, because it does drop straight off. And when it's, I mean, right now it doesn't look like that because there's a lot of weeds and ferns and such. But in the winter, when it's all snow, it's just pew. So definitely has a different look and plays a little different trick on the mind. But it was still really fun then, and I know Lane had a lot of fun. We'll definitely be climbing this one again together, and I know she'll love it because this was her first summit. It's always going to mean something special to her. Mean something special to me too, because it was our first summit together. So that's awesome. But anyway, descending, getting ready to get out of here and go get some food. And I can't even believe people work when you got mountains around. Oh, never mind. I forgot. I need to go work. Somebody's got to make the donuts. Oh, I eat the donuts. I don't make them. Sorry, got that mixed up. But a lot of work coming here in the future on the Through Hiker magazine, which is going to be released, launched, I should say, next year, 2024, early next year. So just a few months away. Go to throughhikermagazine.com. Just drop your email in the sign-up form, and that's all you have to do to stay updated when it hits, when subscriptions are available, different updates that come along the way as we get closer to launch and so forth. Also, if you've been watching these videos at all, you know that I'm the is in the bag guy. Every time I'm on a summit, I put it in the bag. Good to go. Carrying those summits with me. Conquered in the bag forever, for all time. But you can check out my website for Fortune Adventures. Obviously, subscribe to this YouTube channel, but also if you want to check out the website, it's a new one. There's going to be t-shirts and stuff, because I know a lot of my family, my followers, my friends, whichever you may be, have requested a shirt that says is in the bag, and there's one that will be coming very shortly. So just go to isinthebag.com. ISINTHEBAG.com. And you can do the same thing there. Sign up for any updates, and when shirts are ready, you'll know. You'll always know what's coming next, what through hikes are next, what journeys are next, the news that happens along the way, the fight and raising awareness for osteoporosis, all that good stuff. I appreciate you all following. And until the next time, the next video, live life.